So morning, here we have a Renault Twizy. Obviously this is a Renault Twizy colour. This one is a battery owned Twizy. There is no longer a battery lease on this, so you don't have any monthly payments. You own the vehicle and you own the battery. So this one is a 2012, it's a Twizy colour. It has only done 900 miles since new. It's actually been off the road for a long time, I'll explain that later. And as you can see, it's in really nice condition. Being such low mileage, it's hardly had any wear. The tyres are still like new. The brakes don't bind like they normally do on a Twizy. It does drive like a new one still. It still feels light. Twizys, as they age, they tend to have binding brakes and makes them feel a bit heavy, but this one doesn't. This still feels light to drive. It still does feel like a new one. And I've put a new 12-volt battery up front, and this has had a new side window here. This window here was broken, top half was snapped off, so a new window in here. And I've also put a new hazard warning light switch on it. These are a common problem on the Twizys. Those switches, I think they corrode at the back. I don't think they're particularly waterproof, and they have a habit of draining the battery flat. Often they are pushed out. Pushed out is on, it's sort of opposite to what you think, but often those are a source of batteries being drained. But anyway, that switch is brand new as well, so all good. So, as you probably know from my videos, I'm very picky on the condition, so people that buy these blind know exactly what they're getting before they hand over any money. So let's go around and talk about the condition of this one. I've just washed it. It's still quite wet, but as you can see, it's all rust free. The big problem on Twizys is these brakes tend to corrode because they're exposed to the elements, and the pistons stop sliding and they tend to suffer from rubbing brakes, but this one isn't doing it. Here we've got your charging. Charges on a normal 3-pin plug. This one does charge to 100% as well, so the battery's all good. And yeah, and I've got a new 12-volt battery up front. This is a genuine Renault battery as well. Those 12-volt batteries cost £100 from Renault. They are very expensive. You can buy aftermarket batteries, but they have a slightly different terminal, and by the time you drill the terminals out to put the screws on, it doesn't leave you much terminal left, whereas the Renault ones have slightly larger terminals, and that's a proper Renault battery in there, so that's all good for many years now. As you can see, the tyres are all still like new. They've only done 900 miles. So one of the wheel trims here was a bit scratched. Yeah, a bit of scratching here on the wheel trim, plastic wheel trim, so nothing to worry about. There isn't really a mark on it. There's a couple of marks on the door I've got to show you in a minute, but actually bodywork wise and plastic wise, usually these wheel arches get a bit of scuffing on it. There just isn't a mark on this one. It's in really nice condition. This wheel trim is all scratch free. There's no scratches on the black plastic. It's all really nice, and the colour of this is light grey. It's almost white. It's like an off-white, but really nice. As you can see there, really good tyre tread. No rust on your suspension and things. And there's a little bit of a mark there on the wheel trim and a bit of a scratch there, but really nothing you'd worry about. And yeah, the rest of it is really nice. So the marks I do need to show you. Down here on the front, bit of paint missing there. It's gone a little bit yellow. Obviously it's not rust because this is all plastic, but all you need to do is get the touch-up stick in this grey colour and then just dab a bit of paint on that. And then there is a mark here on the top of the door where paint is rubbed off and it's scuffed. and I've sort of worked out what this is. This door is fine along here, but what I reckon has happened is someone has moved it with a forklift, because this has been off the road for 4 years, and obviously the 12-volt battery was flat. 12-volt battery had actually swollen, as they usually do, and they go completely dead. They're completely reliant on the 12-volt battery, and if that battery is not working, you can't charge it, you can't start it, and you can't even release the handbrake, because the handbrake's got an electric switch on, so they are completely dead. And I reckon someone has lifted this with a forklift by putting bars through here and lifted it on its roof, because that's about the width of a forklift bar. There is a slight scuff here on the edge of the seat in the plastic there, very minor, you wouldn't worry about that. But up here on the roof here, the plastic is damaged here as well. And I think on this side, yes, on this side it's got some damage in the grey plastic here and here. It's looking worse at this angle because I'm obviously on my knees here looking up, which is an angle you wouldn't see it at. But clearly someone's put some forks to there to lift it up and move it. So, which I guess was why this window was broken. What had happened is it had broken across here, and this top bit had come out. So I've replaced this new Perspex piece. It was 80 quid, but the door hinge goes through it. It's circular down here, so I had to take the door off, and it was quite a job actually to replace that bit of plastic. But yeah, looking underneath here, where are we? Get the phone on there. This bit of plastic is scuffed all along the inside of the roof here, so it's nothing to worry about. There's no sort of permanent damage apart from sort of scuffed plastic work. This plastic is just clip-on cladding. There's a steel frame under here, all of that's all intact. It's just where forks have rubbed on it basically. So, you know, when you're looking from eye height, you can't see any of it. All you can see is along the top of the door here. But yeah, I'd imagine that's what's happened to it, which is a shame, but it's not uncommon because people don't know how to work these, and when they're dead they just become a brick because they don't understand that there's a 12-volt battery up front. It doesn't help that this 12-volt battery is completely hidden under here. There is no way of getting to it or seeing that it even exists in there until you take this panel off, and then it's hidden behind a plastic box in there, and of course people don't realise. So yeah, what happens is normally people go hunting for a battery and they pull the glove boxes out. A very common thing is they rip the seat out. This one's had the same thing, someone's yanked this seat out. A lot of Twizys I get are the same. They're often dead on arrival because the 12-volt battery's gone flat, and they go hunting for a 12-volt battery to jump start them, and they assume that it's under the seat. And these seats aren't meant to come out. This bit comes out, but they undo that lock and then they yank that out, and so someone's done the same. So these seats tend to be a little bit loose. They're all the same, even Twizys that have come from people that have owned them who you'd have thought would know better still do the same. They all have that back seat ripped out. So yeah, apart from that, there's no rips in the seats. Everything works as it should do. Let me just jump in and show you the dash. Let me just start it up. So there, oh sorry, let me get my phone lined up. There's the mileage, 968 miles. So if I put it into drive, reverse, handbrake is off, everything works as it should do. Indicators, we've got lights, we've got pedestrian warning system, then we've got wiper and washer, and then you've got a heated windscreen on these. and you've got wires in the glass because there's no heating system in the Twizy. Well, ventilation system is the word I was looking for, so there's no airflow. So the way you remove condensation from the glass is it's got a heated windscreen. Let me just put it back into neutral. So everything works as it should do. It's got a good battery. It's got a new 12-volt battery. You've got a 12-volt cigarette lighter in here. You've also got your ODB2 port in here, and then you've got a lockable box on that side. So there's not much more really I can show you. Oh, the other thing I will also quickly say is the door hinges. The pistons still work nice. They tend to get a bit stiff as they get old, but this one's still good. Oh, and another common problem on the Twizys is usually these bits of plastic here on the door catches go missing, and the rubber bung beneath. If they are, I always buy them, but these are very expensive. You have to buy the whole latch assembly when all you want is just a bit of plastic or rubber. But on this side, on this one, both of them are all good, and everything is there, and the doors are lined properly and slam shut and don't rattle. So apart from that sort of scuffing on the inside where it's been lifted that you genuinely don't see unless you sit in it and look up, the rest of it is in really nice condition, and it drives really well, this one. On the paperwork side of things, it has got one key. I don't have the spare key. A lot of Twizys are the same, only come with one key. These are a dumb key, so probably very simple to get cut on the high street on a normal key cutters. There's no intelligence in there, so probably dirt cheap. Let me just put the key in ignition. And then paperwork side of things, I'm going to get an MOT done hopefully tomorrow, so it will have 12 months MOT. And I will of course then tax it, because at the moment I can't tax it because it doesn't have an MOT. This is the V5. It's registered to me currently. It's got 2 previous keepers, and then the registration date is the 25th of February 2013. There's the model, Twizy colour and electricity. And there's not much else with it. I don't have the original books. Well, there's only one book you get with the Twizy, the user guide, but I do have a PDF version I can give you. And then this vehicle, just when I went to tax it, I've got the history here on the tax. It was last sawn on the 1st of February 2014, so this has been off the road for 4 years or so now. Hence why it's only done 900 miles. Effectively it's still like new. It's just one of these vehicles which have never been used.